Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable, high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. I was doing a workout recently, a weightlifting, weight resistance training, whatever you call it, workout recently, and something struck me. And my friend Joe O'Sullivan, who is a regular listener to this podcast, founder of the Sapien Method, advanced personal trainer extraordinaire, will be laughing as he's listening to this, I guess. But it kind of inspired today's podcast episode, which I'm calling Resistance Training for Your Business and Your Soul. Have you ever noticed how often people seem to get stronger when life gets harder? And maybe I'm guessing that might have happened to you at times, but maybe not all the time. Because sometimes then when life gets harder, people can get stuck. So if you could have two people in the same situation, same challenges, but have a different experience, different outcome. What I find curious about that is, why is that difference there? And I think there's only one answer. It's not the problems that are making the difference, it's how the two people see the challenges. And I'd often see myself doing, having to do a gym session or whatever. And some days I'm coming in like, yeah, let's go for it. The other days my inner voice is, I don't want to do it. And they're the days most of the time when I'll say, no, back in your box. We're doing the training anyway. Because when you lift weights, obviously you're actually tearing muscle, and then the muscle, your body adapts and grows back stronger. So you're actually going through discomfort, going through pain to help your body adapt, activate its innate resilience so that it grows stronger. And that is, I think, the perfect metaphor for life and for business. So again, going back to say even the business situation, say you might have two business people, maybe two business owners, in a tough situation. Maybe they're hit by a setback. Maybe a deal falls through that they need it for cash flow. Maybe an important client leaves. Maybe the numbers just don't land in a quarter or a year. One person can spiral into frustration and self-doubt. And then the other person in the exact same situation, even the same business, same industry, can roll up their sleeves, get curious, get stuck into it, as we'd say in Ireland, and say, okay, right, what's this here to teach me? It's the same challenge. It's the same resistance, but it's a very different response. Now, I would have said before in a previous podcast somewhere about two distinct mindsets that I think everybody can flip in and out of. And one is the victim mindset, which nobody wants to be in. And then the other one is the victor, VICTOR mindset, the winner, where you own things, you own the situation regardless. And obviously, instinctively, we all want to be in the victor mindset. But I've caught myself in the victim mindset. I've caught my clients in the victim mindset. Nobody's immune to it if you're human. So don't delude yourself that you're never in it, because you may not be for certain areas of your life or business, but you probably can fall into it at times if you're honest. And usually the pity party is the indicator that you're in it, And that's a phrase that a friend of mine, Niall, would often use. Pity party. It's a great phrase. But I came across this line recently that really struck me, and I suppose it partially inspired the episode as well. Something like this, that people who really own their life and their business, they see problems like bodybuilders see weight, and they use the resistance to build their business or to build their life. And I think that's very powerful, because the truth is the resistance isn't itself the enemy. It's actually the training ground, just like the gym. So if you look at it that way, the real trap then isn't struggle. It's actually avoidance. And that's probably the key word I think I'd love you to remember and consider and reflect on for this particular episode. Because in my experience, most people spend their energy trying to avoid pain at some level, avoid discomfort, maybe avoid embarrassment, and it's usually unconscious. There's often areas in their work or life where they don't, and then there's going to be areas, usually unconsciously, where they do. They can often lift the weight once and it hurts, and then they go, somewhere at the back of the mind, oh, I'm not going to do that again. And here's the truth. We all do it. I can do it. I know people actually, by the way, who can train really well in the gym, very consistent, get really fit, they look good. But actually, if they're honest, they avoid weights in their business or indeed in other areas of their life. Just to give you a simple example, a lot of people avoid conflict. Now, I don't know, like it's a small percentage of people who actually enjoy conflict, and they do exist, yes. I know a few, right? But most people, like, it's not the most fun thing, but good leaders, good performers know that conflict is a part of the game. But a lot of people, a lot of smart people will avoid conflict. But here's the paradox. By avoiding something like that, which really is avoiding resistance, it doesn't make life easier. It actually makes it more difficult, makes it heavier. And usually, if a conflict in itself means there's something needs to be said, if it's not said, if it's not addressed, then that's going to lead obviously to problems. So avoidance in general is still work. It's just unproductive work. I mean, you can put a lot of effort into avoidance because you can be arguing with yourself, debating with yourself. It's exhausting. Everybody does it at times in different ways. It's a bit like, I think, trying to hold like a beach ball underwater all day long. Like, it's exhausting. It's highly unrewarding. And anyway, sooner or later, the ball's going to pop back up. But on the other hand, when you face resistance, when you say, right, we're going to lift the weights, when you breathe through that weight, if you're open to learning from it, then that same energy can build you. It'll make you stronger. And when you're in the gym, the burn that you feel in your muscles is actually the sign of growth. Like, it's one of the signs of success. Well, why can't we do the same thing in life and business? Maybe we need to just change our lens and look at that burn, the discomfort, as being the same thing. Because the problem, it isn't the resistance, it's our story about the resistance. What our inner narrator is actually telling us about the situation. And again, usually this is unconscious, and part of this podcast I'm trying to do is maybe provide a space where you can reflect and bring out of the darkness of the back of your mind what actually you're saying to yourself, so that you've at least got the option to say, oh, I see you now. I'm going to ignore you. I see this all the time, by the way, with really strong leaders, CEOs, business owners. They can be brilliant at solving different types of problems. You know, there could be people problems, there could be market problems, product problems, but they'll often struggle with their internal resistance. That's usually where I'm brought in, is to help them, I suppose, understand and see what's there sabotaging them. Because it's always going to be something connected to the inner voice, the voice that says, for effect, what if I fail? What will people think? Maybe I'm not ready yet. Oh, that's going to be conflict. Let's avoid that. I don't want to be vulnerable. You probably had to turn up your audio there, but that wasn't an audio glitch. That was me just having some fun. But that voice, that inner voice, the one that I call Gollum from The Lord of the Rings, that voice was usually formed in our teenage years when our biggest fear was probably looking stupid in front of people, looking stupid in front of other people. Without realizing it, we keep letting that same teenage voice run our adult lives. It's kind of like having your 15-year-old self as your head of decision-making in your inner world. That's not a good idea. No wonder it's messy in there. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Before I do that, just want to flag to you that I have something coming up that I've only run once before. I ran it this time last year. It's called Limitless. This year's Limitless 2026. And I ran it as an experiment last year. It's a different way of opening your mind to planning and visioning for the year ahead. And not just that, actually, just different way of tapping into a better, actually, it's only occurring to me now, victor mindset, but really looking to take the shackles off some of those unconscious limitations. It's a lot of fun. It's low on time. I think in total is like 4.5 hours over, I think it was 15, 16 days. I'm going to put a link in the show notes here. And I'm putting in some extra bonus value as well in terms of offers if you come in and join us. You can do it from anywhere in the world. It'll be live and be interactive. You've been on the sidelines. thinking about maybe your inner voice saying, oh, maybe I'll do something with Shane at some time. If you haven't, this is a really easy, fun way to step in and get huge, huge value from it. If you don't get the value, if you don't enjoy yourself in this program, I'll give you your money back, no questions asked. So can't do any better than that. So let me ask you your questions then. What about you? Where in your life, maybe, are you avoiding resistance because it's uncomfortable? And before you dismiss that question, could you be ballsy enough to sit with it for a little bit and say, where might you be avoiding resistance? Because I guarantee you'll find something. Guarantee it. And what conversations or goals or changes are you postponing? Not because you can't do them, but because you don't want to feel the temporary burn. And what might happen if you started to see resistance in your work, in your life, not as punishment, but actually as training, just like exercise, just like the gym? Because resistance doesn't block the path. It is the path. Resistance is the path. It's inevitable. And the difference between misery and mastery isn't the weight. It's how you lift it. So maybe this week, to close out, when resistance shows up, not if, because obviously you're human, so resistance is going to show up. So when resistance shows up, don't curse it. Maybe grab the bar, breathe, and remember, you're in training. That's it for this week. Ciao for now.